You done now?
Yeah, minute 84 of Clue, the movie podcast.
Not 6.
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
There was only one shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, not 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Okay, fine. 1 plus 2 plus 1. Shut up! Point is, there's one bullet left in this gun, and guess who's gonna get it? Oh! Ah!
I'm only a guest. Where's the chief? Wadsworth, well done. I did warn you, my dear. Mr. Hoover is an expert on Armageddon.
Wadsworth, don't hate me for trying to shoot you.
Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. As I was trying to tell you, there are no bullets left in this gun, you see? 1 plus 2.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clue, the movie podcast, where we break down the 1985 cult classic movie Clue 1 minute at a time. My name is Brad Gilmore, joined by General Jeff Smith. GJS is in the building.
Right. I was running late, so brevity on my my sign-in for the program.
How are you doing, Jeff?
Doing okay, you know. It's a rough week for Clue fans, as I'm sure we'll talk about.
It is. We're talking about minute 84 of Clue the movie, and of course, there was sad news, obviously, that came out over the week. Just a couple of days ago, at the time that we're doing this, Martin Mull passed away at 80 years of age. Martin Mull, obviously, who plays Colonel Mustard in Clue the movie. It was sad, man, especially because it had been sad regardless, because I'm such a big fan of this movie. But being that we watch this gentleman literally every single week, and I find consistently, I bring up Colonel Mustard and laugh at him the most out of any character in this movie. And so it was one of those things to where I got the alert on my phone, and I go, damn it, man. I mean, everyone has their time, no one's here forever. But those are the ones that always go, oh, man, God, it sucks. I wish he could have been around forever. Because Martin Mull is just obviously iconic in this movie and others. But what was your reaction to the initial news?
I was very sad as well. It's a bummer. We hadn't seen him in a while, so you kind of think back to like, oh, when was he last on TV? He had done shows recently, but I was bummed. But it was really nice to see a lot of love from comedians on the social medias talking about what an influence he was and how, I mean, when I interviewed Michael McKean for the Clue documentary, he said flat out that Martin Mull's the funniest man he's ever known. So that's a good endorsement there from Michael McKean.
Yeah, what I found surprising is I watched a few news stories about it, and it popped up several places. And the first credit they would give is Clue. Martin Mull, who you know from Clue, as well as, and then they would finish the sentence, Roseanne or Sabrina the Teenage Witch, things like that. But the first credit was always Clue, and it tells you really that this movie has taken over all these actors who's in it. I feel like now, with the exception of Christopher Lloyd, I think that they probably all go back, and Michael McKean maybe as well. But everyone else, the first credit you think of is Clue for the actors. And it shows you what's really happened over the last several years to a movie that was a flop at the time, has really achieved. I don't even know if cult classic is even a good descriptor of it anymore. As we progress year over year, it seems just like it's a classic movie.
Yeah, I know when I first started.
Jeff, you have a little bit of a feedback on your end. You sound like a robot. Or is it my? It could be my ears. Hold on, let me check. You know what? We can't have you sounding like a robot. That would not be ideal. Let's see. Can you say something for me?
Still sound
there you
like
go.
a
No,
robot.
it's my ears. My ears.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So anyway, you were saying.
Oh yes. Don't remember now. Oh, just like when I started making the documentary back in 2017, whenever I would tell anybody what it's about, I would say, have you heard of that movie? And you don't have to do that anymore. Is what I was thinking. To your point about how Clue gets its respect. Finally.
Finally, after all these years. Now, remind me, you had contact with Martin Mull?
So yes, he left me a voicemail. I was close to being done, and I had tried to get a hold of everybody to interview, and this was kind of late in the process, and he left me a voicemail, and that was weird because he said, "Yeah, hi, this is Martin Mull, and just calling about your film. Call me back." And so I called him a couple times and always just got voicemail, and then that was it. So I
So
never
you missed the
actually
call?
spoke to him. I missed the call. I was at a day job and in Boston when that call came in. So I missed it. Although I don't know if I would have answered it anyway, even if I wasn't at work, because I don't know that number.
Oh, I think I've told the famous story of when I missed Goldie Wilson's phone call the first time.
Yes.
I think I've told that on here before. But so, do you still have the voicemail?
I don't think so. I thought it was, I never deleted it on purpose, but I remember I was at a Q&A for the documentary and someone said, "Can you play it?" And I went, "Oh, sure." And so I went scrolling for it and couldn't find it. I haven't looked for it since. So maybe it's in there, but it was definitely him.
Has to be still there. You have an iPhone, right? You're an iPhone guy.
I
It's got to
do.
be in there.
Yeah. It's
And I
got to
even
be in
think
there.
they have a
I'll
recently
look.
deleted section too.
While we talk.
It'd be interesting to find out. For me,
That's in here.
Martin
I'll
Mull,
play it right
I
now.
saw him in this movie, obviously. A couple other ones that stood out were Jingle All the Way, where he plays a radio board operator, which was like a fun one for me. And of course, I knew him from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's very possible that I saw him in Sabrina before I saw him in anything else, because that was a
Yeah.
show I remember my sister was religiously playing after school. I say playing. This is back when it was just on television. You didn't
Hmm.
play shows. Um,
You
it was
watch them.
on television all the time, and I think that was probably the first thing I've ever seen. And again, Martin Mull, very recognizable later in his career because he had the glasses pretty much in every role. But during this time, no glasses, and I was still young enough to where it's like if you were younger with no glasses, you were kind of a different person. Like I didn't know who you were.
Yeah, you fell for the Clark Kent disguise.
Exactly. So those are some of the movies that are shows that stick out. Obviously, he's in Mrs. Doubtfire. He's in Clue, as we've talked about. Mr. Mom. He's in Private School. He's uncredited in that movie. I've seen that movie and don't remember him being in that movie. Do you remember him in Private School?
I I do remember the movie Private School. I do not remember any of the male characters.
Said he's uncredited. Now, also a lot of television appearances, including Taxi.
Hmm.
He was in 65 episodes of Taxi.
Oh wow, I
Um,
didn't know that.
just tells you how
Wow.
many taxis there were. You know what I mean?
He
It's a lot
wasn't
of
a
episodes.
regular
There's
and he was on 65 times.
114 episodes of Taxi. So he's on like more than half of the episodes.
Wow.
That's a show I got to revisit,
Yeah. There was a
especially
very
knowing
funny
that
clip
now.
somebody just posted on something that it was a Christopher Lloyd moment that was super funny from Taxi that I'm not even gonna tell you what it was, but it was very funny.
65 episodes of Taxi, 46 episodes of Roseanne. He was on the Larry Sanders Show, which is a personal favorite of mine, a few times.
Hmm.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch. He played Paul Prickley in Recess. Recess was a show that I
Yes,
really liked. I guess that's a
I used to
brother of
watch that
Principal
too.
Prickley.
Yes, I watched that one as well.
I'm looking to see he was in Two and a Half Men, some Law and Orders. Oh, and then this was such a great guest appearance. He was in 4 episodes of Veep, which he actually ended up being nominated for an Emmy for. He played Bob Bradley, who was like this fixer, kind of political campaign fixer, but had started to lose it a little bit in his old age. And I remember him in that one. Worked up his last credit is The After Party, playing Sheriff Reardon, 2 episodes of The After Party in 2023. So still working actor. No credits in 2024, but man, him as Colonel Mustard is going to be the Mount Rushmore Martin Mull performances. It's going to be the Washington face, obviously.
Definitely.
It's
And I
not
did
the
think of
Roosevelt.
you because I know that when we've watched this movie minute by minute lately, uh, you do laugh out loud every time he does something physical. It's always Martin Mull, and it's always something physical, and that's when I see your mouth going gasp in a
Well,
laugh.
what's actually great is I did it again in this minute, and it's not even a physical Martin Mull bit. He was just when he throws his hands up and goes, "I'm just a guest.
Heavily a guess. Yeah.
I'm
Although
only a
he's
guest."
doing some funny stuff in the background. I mean, we might as well start talking about the minute.
Yeah.
He and Madeline Kahn, very funny in the background when they're doing 1 + 2 + 2 + 1. Both of them, you can see, are silently trying to count and use their fingers to figure out the math as well. First, I just noticed Mark Mull's doing it, and he's like really having a tough time. But if you look, Madeline Kahn is doing her thing off to the side as well.
Well, let's talk about this scene because this is, I mean, we're gonna have a little bit in minute 86, 80. Well, we're on 84, 85. We'll have a little bit of minute 85 of the end officially of the first ending of ending
Yeah.
A. But this is essentially the end of the first ending for the most part. And what I thought here was, as we talked about last week, this is the best ending of the movie. A few things that stood out to me though. I love the score whenever the cavalry essentially comes. I mean, just like this great moment of,
Yeah.
we are letting you know these are the good guys. If there's any
Right.
doubt, these are the good guys. And the 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. Do you remember any? Was there any kind of insight into that at all that you got, or is that just one of those things that was so classic?
Yeah, I think it's just I don't know if it came from anything, but it's certainly become one of the iconic lines, and we've talked about it on this podcast many times. It's sad that people went to the theater, and the chances are they wouldn't see 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 because it's only in this ending, and it's one of the I think probably one of the most quoted lines from this movie for sure.
Interestingly enough, when I'm looking at the original draft, not in it.
Really, how
Not
does it go then? What?
so. Here's the ending. So this is Miss Scarlet. This is after Colonel Mustard says, "I don't have any more money," and Miss Scarlet says, "I know, sweetie pie, but you can pay me in government information, all of you." Then she turns to Wadsworth. This is the "Accept you, Wadsworth." And then at the end, this is how it is. "Not so fast, Miss Scarlet. I do have a secret or two." "Oh, yeah? Such as?" Wadsworth. "The game's up, Scarlet." And then the front doorbell rings. Miss Scarlet turns automatically towards the door. Wadsworth leaps forward, smashes the gun out of her hand, and holds her in a vice like grip. Mr. Green opens the front door. Several FBI agents burst in, gun in hand. Two agents grab Miss Scarlet. Other agents go to spread into various rooms and reappear almost instantly. So there's no 1 + 2 + 1 + 1
He
moment
just says,
between
"I do
Wadsworth
have a
and Scarlet.
secret," and the door opens.
Yeah, he has a
That's
secret. The door opens.
insane.
Now, get this is how it ends, though. Check this out. The three agents to each other. What? Because they can't believe their ears. A cop shouts out of the study. Sixth agent. There are three bodies in there. Fourth agent. Three more. Wadsworth. Where's the chief? The elderly evangelist strolls in through the front door, gun in hand. Elderly evangelist. "Ah, Wadsworth. Well done." He turns to Miss Scarlet. "I did warn you, my dear. Mr. Hoover is an expert on Armageddon." Fade to black.
Oh, oh, wow.
Can I say something?
Yeah, I can't.
Don't like
I'm stunned. No, I do
it.
not
Don't
like.
like
Well done. You saved it. Whoever came up with 1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
Well, just that would have been a. Why would the FBI agent have the outline of the movie? Why would the elderly evangelist have the outline? Why would you give that to him? And
Right.
end it on a J. Edgar Hoover joke.
Yeah. He's an expert in Armageddon. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Is that even funny? I'm
No,
not sure I
I don't
get
think
it.
it was. Yeah, maybe I don't know enough about J. Edgar Hoover, or we've Googled J. Edgar Hoover. I don't remember him knowing anything about Armageddon.
I'm about to type that in the Google machine. J.
J. Edgar
Edgar
Hoover
Hoover.
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
I bet Clue comes up.
Mageddon. Let's see what comes up.
And
Um,
the soundtrack with Aerosmith.
what is this called? Allies Against Armageddon? Is this something? Fifth
Mm.
Allies Against Armageddon, the FBI and the academic study of religion. Well, this is some paper, some like
Oh,
peer-reviewed paper or something. No, I don't see anything on him in Armageddon.
okay. Then I really don't get it.
I don't get what the joke was. But we talked about this being the strongest of the three endings.
Yes,
Um,
for sure. As far as it makes sense as far as the mystery goes. Story wise, it's the one that makes the most sense.
but again, when what I love about there's a couple other things in the scene that stand out to me is this movie came out in 85. What year did Dirty Harry come out? 79?
70s, yeah, late 70s,
I
78,
think it's
79.
79. Is this like 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 71, excuse me,
Oh,
1971.
wow.
I was way off.
Hey.
Um, is this 1 plus 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1? It reminds me of the I know what you're thinking. Was it 6
Yeah, with
shots
the
or was it only 5? To be honest with you, in all this excitement, I lost count myself. Is this an allusion to it or no? Or am I thinking too hard
Oh,
about it?
I don't know. Back in the 80s, it was very popular to make Dirty Harry references. Almost every TV show, every movie at some point said, "Go ahead and make my day." Um,
You feel lucky, do you,
so
punk?
maybe, yeah. So maybe it's just a very silly version of how many bullets are left.
Is that scene though in Dirty Harry, not to sidetrack for a second, but is that scene not one of the great written like it's such a great cop movie scene where he's,
Hmm.
the guy is was it 6 shots or was it only 5? There's a 44 Magnum, it'll blow your head clean off. You got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? I mean, it's so good. It's so good.
Brad Gilmore just had a moment.
I love that scene though. And then the guy goes, I got to know. I got to know.
Yeah.
And they points it and pulls the trigger. Oh, so good.
Wasn't that actor at Comic Palooza in Houston when we were just there?
Well, not the actor who was getting the I got to know
No,
actor,
but the
but
bad
the
guy.
guy who played the serial killer, Andrew
Yeah, that's right.
Robinson, who
That's
I
right.
interviewed. Um,
Yeah.
and said Clint Eastwood. This was a funny thing. He said Clint Eastwood was. I guess they were working on casting the movie. Andrew was in a play. Clint Eastwood came to see the play and left at intermission, and he was like, "Oh, well, obviously I didn't get it."
Right.
But then Clint was like, "I
I've
guess I just
seen
saw
enough.
enough.
I
One
know what I
take,
need. I'm leaving at intermission.
we got it. One take, we got it." I wonder what Clue would have been like directed by Clint Eastwood.
Mm, 3 hours long and in the West.
That actually, I'm not mad at
Then
that.
Miss Scarlet would work even better. Owning a brothel.
She really would. She'd be
Yeah.
right. She'd be right in
Be
her
Madame
wheelhouse,
Scarlet. Yeah.
or right in her whorehouse. Quite honestly.
Ew.
Hi-oh. Hey, so let me ask you this too. The illusion, because the only and the other reason I'm thinking is this an allusion to Dirty Harry is
Hmm.
because in the very same scene there's an allusion to Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yeah. Which is also not in the script.
Not in the script. No, that's not in the script either.
It's like the most obvious Scarlet joke, and it
Yeah,
wasn't in the
of
script.
course, people, I mean, might not know. I don't know if Gone with the Wind, people watch that movie as much as they used to, but Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara is the name of the character, I believe.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and then at the very end, what's his name? Rhett? He had a weird name.
Rex.
Rhett, right?
Yeah.
He says, quite frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn,
Big deal back then.
which is a great line, too.
Yeah.
And, Wadsworth making an allusion to that with Scarlett. So that's why I was like, is this a movie
Are we just
referential
doing
moment?
movie? We're doing different movies. Maybe.
Because what's also funny is there's not another reference like that in the whole movie to where they're making a movie, a very clear, distinct movie reference in the middle
Right.
of this movie for a joke.
It is pretty silly, but again, it shows how this movie, as far as tone goes, just goes everywhere.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Because the 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 is also very who's on first
Right.
style.
Even if you're
Style.
right, it'd be 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, but not 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Yeah.
It's a very who's on first style of comedy. So it
And
is a
no
little bit
editing.
all over the
All one
place.
shot.
And here's the other question. When did I've always tried to figure this out. So, quite frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn, is not like in itself is not a funny line, right? It's not a joke, right?
No, well, it's a famous line,
But
and
no,
her
but I'm
name was
saying
Scarlett.
when Wadsworth says it, it's not a joke. It's an allusion to another movie. It's a reference to another movie.
Yeah,
When did
but it's I think
referential humor become a thing is what I'm trying to figure out to where what I'm saying is not funny by itself.
if you
It's
don't
only
know,
funny if you make the connection to what it's referring to.
right?
And
When
I
did
feel
that
like that has to
start?
be a pop culture thing. They weren't like dropping referential humor back with Shakespeare, you know. I
Maybe they were. We don't
don't
know.
feel like people were just walking around and being like, "Hey, I rose by any other name," you know?
Like, you go. My name is Rose. Leave me alone.
I don't think that like so
Uh,
when did that jump into and why is that funny? Now I'm getting real philosophical. Why is it
why?
funny
Why is
if
it
I
funny?
reference
Just to
something
reference a movie?
that's not a joke?
Oh man, why is anything funny? I'd like that you just totally sat back in your chair. You're like, go, tell me what I need to know.
Break it down, Jeff.
Ah, why is it funny? I don't know. It's like doing Wayne's World 2. They stop and say, "Do you have any Grey Poupon?" If you don't know the commercial, it's not funny. It just seems like they're asking a guy for mustard. But we all know, so we go hee hee. We all feel smart that we get it. We know what that is.
But I like to go back to the end of the movie of this scene. The payoff that Wadsworth was wrong
So
about counting the bullets. Also, what I like about that is not only is it funny, not only is it a good bit when he shoots the light and there's still a bullet in it and his face sells it like only Tim Curry could sell it. But what's great about it is it also continues to inform you about the wit and the intelligence of Miss Scarlet.
yeah, that's a good point. She was able to do the math.
She not only was able to do the math, she kept count of this throughout the entirety of the night when she's also planning all these murders and coming up with a new extortion plot on the fly and
Right.
trying to stay um uh uh, uh innocent. I'm not innocent, but trying to
Yeah.
not be what am I trying to say? Trying
Just
to
off the radar,
try to
not
stay off the radar.
obvious. Yeah, yeah.
And Wadsworth, we think at this moment, oh, he's so intelligent. He figured it all out. He's the good
Right.
guy of the story. He's about to save the day. But we still, even in her defeat, she still shows, I'm smarter than you. You got me on this, but I'm still smarter than you.
And then, as we'll see in the next minute, she even talks him through it. Like, okay, come here. 1 plus 2, you got it.
Right.
But
Plus
yeah,
one.
she's smart. It makes sense why she kept the gun in the first place because we've talked about that before. It seemed like a bonehead move not to just toss the gun, but she knows there's another bullet in there, and she knows who's gonna get it.
Should this have been the this is how it really happened?
Well, we can make whichever one the one we want to be what really happened, but I think this is the the one where it's everybody is more of a crowd pleaser because everybody gets their moment. So I get why they show this first because Peacock, as we will see, is kind of weak. And then the last one is just fun because it's everybody almost, and you get the twist of who Green is. But I think we've made it clear we think this is the one.
That's how I feel now. Now,
Yeah,
by the time we get to this is how it
we
really
may watch
happened.
Peacock in a couple minutes, and I'll be like, you know what, this plays. This is
Pretty
good.
good.
This is my
This is
favorite.
pretty good.
We don't need flashbacks.
So yeah, it's kind of right now I still feel like this is the and to me, like we talked about last week, the fact that it's the final ending written
Yeah,
in the
in the
script,
script.
this is the
Hmm.
one that Lynn was like, "Oh yeah." Oh yeah,
This is how we're
this
going
is it.
out.
I'm gonna end with a J. Edgar Hoover joke. Boom.
It's true. He does kind of end
I
gently
wonder. I
setting the
think that they
microphone
all
down.
end the same way with the J. Edgar Hoover
Oh,
joke. I
oh,
believe.
we'll
Let's
get to
see.
that.
I'm pulling it up here now.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Oh no, they do end differently. Okay. What we'll do is an addendum episode, probably when we get to the credits. I'll
Hmm.
read all of these.
Yeah,
You know, but
they are short. I was surprised we fit so much into this minute just now, is that they kept going and we're getting closer and closer to the end. That it's a very full 60 seconds. Brad is looking
boom,
at the
yeah,
screen.
they're all a little bit different. They're all a little bit different, but there's two endings that end with the same joke, with
Oh,
the Armageddon joke.
that's a tease, friends.
B and D. Anything else from this minute stand out to you?
This is a good minute. It's just like I said, I had forgotten that they were doing some counting in the background, so that was fun to watch. It's the nice thing about big TVs and 4K versions; you can see it all, even the stunt doubles.
Even the stunt doubles. I actually
Always there.
feel that they shouldn't do that.
Make it too.
Make it too, yeah. There's some versions of Back to the Future now where you can see like the prosthetic makeup a little bit on the neck
Yeah, yeah,
of like Strickland and Doc.
yeah,
And I'm just like, I could do without that. I like the fuzziness. Give me
yeah.
a little fuzzy.
I agree. Give me some grain.
Give me some grain. It feels real to me, damn it. You know what I
Yeah, that's a
mean?
movie. Movies have grain. They don't have visible prosthetic lines.
Well, I think that we're going to get to an inflection point in a few things in film soon, I hope, right? One of them we've talked about before, less cuts, longer
Hmm.
takes. I feel like we're going to get back to that. Not in the same way that it was in the, 50s, 60s and 70s where it was almost like a 3-minute cut of one scene
Right.
and they're just acting, in a two
Hmm.
shot. But I think that we're going to get longer cuts and I also don't want everything to look so pretty. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't need to look pretty every time. Give me something that
Right.
that messes up. You know, this movie, is very good about it's not too gussied up. We have certain long takes. It doesn't overly cut, even though it's very fast. They're doing the work. The actors are doing the
It's the
work. I
performance.
feel like
Yeah.
so much now is the editors are doing the work. Oh, let me clip this
Hmm.
together. I'll take this second out. I'll take this second out. We'll get this coverage, whatever, whatever. To where the actors used to have a little bit more of work. It's almost the same with music, where sound engineers are doing a lot of work on the voice and post, as opposed
Hmm.
to, well, how about the singer just actually be able to sing it? You know what I mean? Let's do it.
Not necessary anymore. You can get
I
an
was
app on
thinking
your
about this.
phone.
I was thinking about this yesterday because I was listening to the Temptations, which, by the way, if you've never just run the Temptations greatest hits, do yourself a favor. And
Okay.
I was like, we had a lot of groups back then, like the Temptations, the Platters, um, the Drifters, a lot of groups like that, the Jordanaires. And I was wondering why was that so popular then? And I figured it out because they couldn't, like the lead singer couldn't go in and do his own harmonies in post. We
Yeah.
needed to have these live. So let's just make it a group. Y'all have your part. We'll sing this in studio with all the band. And then boom, we're done. We didn't have this go back and edit, edit, edit.
Hmm.
These are the
Well,
things I've
to
been
your
thinking
point,
about.
no, I'm hip, and to that point, the clip that we just saw, the 1 + 2 + 2 + 1, is all one long shot. That entire thing until the doors open or until the bell rings, it's just all there. So that's all the performance.
Well, Jeff, I think that this is a great minute. And, it's tough that now another one of these iconic cast members are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And Colonel Mustard, who, by the way, we've had the conversation. Not only in this movie is Colonel Mustard like my become my favorite character over the course of watching this. Colonel Mustard is probably the most identifiable Clue character. I'm talking about
Mm.
board game or movie.
Right.
When
When people refer to the game, they say it's Colonel Mustard and something with the candlestick.
they always say Colonel Mustard. 9 times out
Yeah.
of 10, it's Colonel Mustard. And I guess it's because the name is so specific to Clue.
If you said it's Mrs. White, you go, who?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
got to
or
be
Miss Scarlet or Mr. Green.
sure. Yeah.
But
Colonel
Miss
Mustard.
Miss Peacock, maybe. Professor Plum is a close two.
Yeah.
Professor Plum's a close two. But
There's
I
not too
I
many
venture to
Professor
say
Plums.
Professor Plum not as funny as Colonel Mustard, like the name.
Which is strange because you would think the alliteration would go a long way, but it doesn't help.
Well, it's like I've been diving in on the Beverly Hills Cop lore recently, and
Mm.
originally it's supposed to be a potato in the tailpipe, and
Oh,
Eddie Murphy goes, "We should make it a banana. A banana's funnier."
bananas funnier.
And then they said, "Why is a banana funnier?" And he's like, "I don't know. It's just funnier than a potato."
You're not gonna fall for the potato in the tailpipe.
You're not gonna fall for the potato in your tailpipe? Come on, man.
Who does he get the banana from in Beverly Hills Cop? Who's
It's
the
Wayans,
banana
right?
fruit salesman? Damon Wayans. That's right.
Damon Wayans, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? He always does that in the cop movies because in Cop 2, do you remember who the
Chris
valet
Rock.
is at the Playboy
Chris
Mansion?
Rock, right?
Chris
Yeah.
Rock. Yeah. Chris Rock
And
in Cop
then
2. Cop 3, I don't
three,
think there is one.
George Lucas is waiting in line for the ride. He goes, "Hey!"
That's true. It's a George Lucas cameo.
It's the George
Yeah.
Lucas cameo. So yes, Damon Wayans, Chris Rock, George.
George Lucas. There's a comic that's like a little comic cameo in Beverly Hills Cop 4
Okay,
that
I
stands
know
out.
you've seen it
Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm important. No,
weeks ago.
just kidding. Well, Jeff, I think that we've covered it all
Yeah,
in this minute. If you have any final thoughts?
good minute. I'm excited. I can't believe we're almost on the second ending. Almost. We're gonna get like half and half. I think we're gonna get like a tiny bit of this. We're gonna hear the and then. Sorry, didn't mean to frighten you.
13 more, man. That's all we have. 13 more.
Wow.
We got to savor the flavor.
Ah.
All right, well, we'll be back. That's Jeff Smith, General Jeff Smith,
Yeah.
ClueDoc.com. I'm the Bo Brad Gilmore, thebobradgilmore.com. And you can check us out next week on Clue the Movie Podcast with Minute